Every second, petabytes of information are flooding through the fiber optic cables and server racks of the modern global enterprise. We tend to think of this information as perfectly organized rows and columns in a database, but those neat, structured tables account for a tiny fraction of global data. The remaining 90. These models are built to predict the next logical word, not to comprehend complex visual text relationships. When forced to guess without proper structural grounding, they invent plausible, confident, and entirely disastrous answers. Trying to fix this by uploading your highly sensitive, proprietary dark data to a public, cloud-based language model introduces severe data exfiltration risks. You are handing your most private reality to a multi-tenant public server. Solving this enterprise crisis requires moving away from generic cloud brains. We must rebuild how AI reads, stores, and securely accesses private data from the ground up. The first step to curing this blind spot is a process known as unstructured data integration. Instead of feeding an entire, unwieldy document to an AI at once, this process breaks them apart into smaller, highly specific segments. This is called chunking. Next, these distinct chunks are converted into high-dimensional numerical arrays, known as vector embeddings. These arrays are then mapped into a specialized vector database, where data points with similar meanings are physically clustered close together. Ultimately, this architecture successfully translates human chaos into a precise geometry of meaning that machines can quickly navigate. Now that the data is mapped, we need a dynamic reasoning engine to connect a user's question to that vector space. This is known as Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG. Look at this flowchart of an application engineering pipeline. When a user submits a query, the system completely bypasses the AI's internal memory. Instead, it routes the question directly into a RAG lookup inside the secure vector database. The system retrieves the exact factual data relevant to the question and injects it into the prompt template. This provides strict, verified context before the language model ever begins to process its answer. This exact sequence forces the AI to base its final output entirely on the provided evidence, resulting in a knowledge-grounded response. It blocks all external guesswork. RAG turns the AI from a creative novelist to a strict, evidence-bound corporate researcher. But even with RAG, a critical architectural vulnerability remains, exposing this potent data pipeline to public, multi-tenant internet clouds. This architectural blueprint illustrates a sovereign AI, specifically treecapital's Anven model. It is a specialized generative architecture engineered to run entirely within an isolated, air-gapped enterprise network. Anven utilizes late fusion multimodal processing. As you can see, it takes chaotic visual tokens, like diagrams and images, alongside text data, and analyzes them together in a single, unified cognitive space. Running locally means the system applies strict role-based access controls and localized governance at runtime. Sensitive data is never queried by unauthorized users, and it never leaves your servers. True enterprise intelligence requires two things: the cognitive power to interpret everything, and the architectural sovereignty to leak absolutely nothing. By capturing that 90% of ignored dark data, organizations transform a scattered archive into a high-precision, searchable knowledge layer. In the finance sector, AI agents now autonomously analyze sovereign transaction data to detect complex fraud patterns. They perform deep relational lookups without a single byte ever leaving the bank's firewall. In healthcare, edge-native intelligence processes messy, unstructured medical records locally on embedded devices. The data stays on the hardware, maintaining strict HIPAA compliance. Industries are no longer forced to choose between deploying advanced AI capabilities and maintaining strict regulatory compliance. This terminal window shows what that integration actually looks like. Enterprises are rapidly transitioning from legacy models to pull this sovereign architecture directly into their own hardware stacks. Organizations now possess complete physical and operational ownership over their cognitive infrastructure. They have stopped endlessly renting capabilities from big tech APIs. By transforming dark data into private sovereign intelligence, enterprises ensure their most valuable insights remain both accessible and protected.